What happens if you pour rice water into your marigold pot instead of throwing it down the drain? Most people rinse their rice, watch that cloudy white water swirl away, and never think about it again. But that water might be one of the most powerful things you can give your marigolds if you use it the right way. And if you use it the wrong way, it can quietly do the opposite of what you're hoping for. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what's happening inside that pot and how to get it right. Before we dig in, if you're someone who loves getting the most out of what's already sitting in your kitchen, hit that subscribe button. I share simple, science-backed growing tips like this every week, and you don't want to miss what's coming next. So let's talk about what's actually in rice water, because it's a lot more than just cloudy water. When you wash or soak raw rice, the outer layer of each grain, called the bran, releases starches, proteins, and a handful of minerals into the water. That cloudy, milky look isn't dirt. It's dissolved nutrition. The biggest player here is starch. Rice water is loaded with carbohydrates in the form of starch molecules. When this starch enters the soil, it becomes food for the microorganisms living down there, the bacteria and fungi that make up a healthy soil ecosystem. Think of starch as fuel. Just like you'd feel more energetic after a good meal, soil microbes multiply and become more active when they get a steady supply of starch. And more active microbes means more nutrients getting broken down and made available to your plant's roots. Next up is nitrogen in small but meaningful amounts. Rice grains contain trace proteins, and those proteins break down into nitrogen compounds once they hit the water and soil. Nitrogen is one of the building blocks of plant growth. It's central to chlorophyll production, which is what gives leaves their deep green color and powers photosynthesis. Rice water also carries small amounts of potassium and phosphorus, two minerals that occur naturally in the rice grain itself. Potassium plays a huge role in regulating how a plant moves water through its cells, and it directly supports flower and root development. Phosphorus, on the other hand, is essential for energy transfer inside the plant. It helps convert sunlight and nutrients into usable energy for growth, especially in the root system and during flowering. Then there are the micronutrients, things like magnesium, small traces of iron, and B vitamins, particularly B1, also known as thiamine. These don't sound dramatic, but they matter. Magnesium is a core component of chlorophyll itself, meaning without enough of it, leaves can turn pale or yellow even if nitrogen levels are fine. B vitamins support root cell development and can help plants cope better with the stress of transplanting or environmental changes. Finally, rice water has a naturally slightly acidic to neutral pH, usually somewhere in the mild range, which most flowering plants, including marigolds, tend to tolerate well and sometimes even prefer over harder, more alkaline tap water. So to sum it up simply, rice water is a mild, natural cocktail of starch, gentle nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, and a handful of trace minerals and vitamins. It's not a powerful fertilizer like something you'd buy in a bottle labeled October 10th 10. It's much gentler than that, more like a daily multivitamin than a steroid shot. And that gentleness is exactly why it can work so well for a plant like marigolds, which we're about to get into. Now let's flip over to the marigold itself, because understanding what this plant actually wants is where everything starts to click into place. Marigolds are known as tough, low-maintenance flowering plants, but low maintenance doesn't mean no needs. They still have clear nutritional priorities, and interestingly, those priorities line up almost perfectly with what rice water provides. First, nitrogen. Marigolds need nitrogen, but here's the twist. They need it in moderation, not in excess. Too much nitrogen and a marigold will pour all its energy into growing lush green leaves and stems while producing very few flowers. This is a classic mistake gardeners make when they over-fertilize marigolds with strong nitrogen-heavy feeds. The plant looks bushy and green, but the blooms you actually want just don't show up. This is exactly why rice water's gentle, low-concentration nitrogen is such a good match. It supports healthy leaf structure without overwhelming the plant and stealing energy away from flowering. Second, potassium. This is arguably the most important nutrient for a flowering plant like marigolds. Potassium directly influences bud formation, flower size, and how vividly colored those orange, yellow, and red petals turn out. It also strengthens the plant's overall resilience, helping it regulate water loss through its leaves, which matters a lot if marigolds are grown in hot, sunny spots, which they usually are. Rice water's natural potassium content feeds directly into this need, supporting stronger, more vibrant blooms over time. Third, phosphorus. Marigolds rely on phosphorus especially during root establishment and the early stages of bud development. Strong roots mean a stronger plant overall, better at absorbing water, better at surviving dry spells, and better at anchoring itself against wind. Since phosphorus is also involved in energy transfer within the plant, what helps marigolds direct their resources efficiently toward opening new flowers rather than struggling to keep up basic functions. Fourth, the microbial connection. Marigolds, like most flowering plants, don't just rely on nutrients sitting in the soil. They rely on a living soil ecosystem to make those nutrients accessible in the first place. This is where the starch in rice water becomes so valuable. By feeding soil bacteria and beneficial fungi, rice water indirectly boosts nutrient availability across the board. It's not that rice water directly injects everything the plant needs, it's that it creates the conditions for the marigold's roots to access nutrients more efficiently from the surrounding soil. Finally, marigolds appreciate mild, non-harsh watering conditions. They're sensitive to salt buildup and heavily treated tap water over time, especially in container gardening. Rice water, being naturally soft and mineral light compared to some tap water sources, tends to be gentler on root systems. Put simply, marigolds want balanced, not excessive, nitrogen, check. They want potassium for blooms, check. They want phosphorus for roots and energy, check. And they thrive with an active, well-fed soil microbiome, which rice water directly supports through its starch content. It's a genuinely good match, which is exactly why this trick has become so popular among home gardeners. But, and this is important, good match doesn't mean unlimited or careless use, which brings us to the next section. When used properly, rice water can genuinely transform how your marigolds grow. Gardeners who use it consistently often report deeper green foliage, more abundant blooming, stronger stems, and plants that seem to bounce back faster after stress, like heat waves or a missed watering day. It's also a wonderful example of sustainable gardening. You're taking something that would otherwise go straight down the drain and turning it into plant food. There's something deeply satisfying about that kind of full-circle thinking. But here's where I need to pump the brakes, because this is the part most videos on this topic skip entirely. Rice water is not harmless just because it's natural. Used incorrectly, it can absolutely hurt your marigolds, and in some cases, kill them. The biggest risk is overuse. Remember that starch we talked about? While it feeds beneficial microbes in small doses, too much starch too often can actually cause the opposite effect. It can encourage the growth of harmful mold and fungus in the soil, particularly in containers with poor drainage. This creates a damp, sour-smelling environment that suffocates roots rather than nourishing them. The second risk is using unwashed or overly concentrated rice water, particularly water rice has been soaking in for many hours, or worse, water that started to ferment. Fermented rice water becomes acidic and can carry a small alcohol content from natural fermentation, which is far too harsh for young or sensitive marigold roots. Fresh, mildly cloudy rice water is very different from old fermented rice water, and mixing up the two is one of the most common mistakes people make. The third risk is applying it to plants that are already stressed, wilting, or sitting in waterlogged soil. Adding more liquid, even beneficial liquid, to a plant that's already struggling with too much moisture is like offering a heavier meal to someone who's already full. It simply adds more strain, so yes, the benefits are real and well worth pursuing, but respect this liquid. Treat it the way you'd treat any feeding routine, with the right amount, at the right time, prepared the right way. Let's walk through exactly how to do that. Here's exactly how to prepare and apply rice water to your marigolds step by step. Step 1. Choose your rice water type. The best option is water from simply rinsing raw rice, not water left over from cooking it, which often contains added salt or oil. Just place your uncooked rice in a bowl, cover it with clean water, swish it gently with your hand for about 30 seconds, then strain out the rice and keep the cloudy water. Step 2. Dilute it properly. This is the step people skip, and it's the one that matters most. Never apply rice water straight, undiluted. Mix it with plain water at a ratio of roughly 1 part rice water to 2 or 3 parts plain water. This keeps the concentration gentle enough for regular use without overwhelming your marigold's root system. Step 3. Let it rest briefly. Allow your diluted mixture to sit at room temperature for about 15 to 20 minutes before using it. This isn't fermenting, it's simply letting the water settle to room temperature, which is easier on plant roots than very cold water straight from the tap. Step 4. Apply directly to the soil. Using a watering can or a jug with a narrow spout, pour the mixture slowly and evenly around the base of the marigold plant, avoiding direct contact with the leaves and stem where possible. Pour until the soil feels evenly moist, not soggy or pooling on the surface. Step 5. Water in moderation. For an average-sized marigold in a garden bed or medium pot, around 1 cup of the diluted mixture is usually plenty. For larger, mature plants in bigger containers or garden rows, you can scale up slightly, but there's no need to drench the area. A light, even application is far more effective than a heavy one. Step 6. Observe your soil's drainage. Before your very first application, check that your pot or garden bed drains well. If water tends to sit and pool for a long time after normal watering, improve drainage first. Rice water in poorly draining soil is where most of the risk we discussed earlier comes from. That's genuinely it. Simple preparation, proper dilution, and moderate, even application. No fancy tools required, just a bowl, a strainer, and a watering can you probably already own. Timing is where a lot of the risk we talked about earlier can be avoided entirely, so let's get specific. When not to use it, avoid applying rice water during periods of heavy rain or when your soil is already saturated and wet. Adding more liquid on top of already soaked soil increases the risk of root rot and fungal growth, especially with the added starch content. Also avoid using it on very young seedlings that have just sprouted. Their root systems are too delicate for even a gentle nutrient boost at that early stage. And plain water is safer until they've developed a few true leaves. Additionally, skip application during extreme heat waves in the middle of the day, when watering in general, rice water or otherwise, should be minimized to avoid shocking heat-stressed roots. The ideal time to use it: early morning is best, ideally before the heat of the day sets in. This gives the soil time to absorb the nutrients gradually while the plant is naturally most active in taking up water and nutrients through its roots. Applying it during the active growing season, from the point your marigolds have established a few sets of true leaves, through their budding and blooming stages, is when you'll see the most noticeable benefit, since this is when the plant's nutrient demand is highest. How often to reapply? This is not a daily treatment. Once every 10 to 14 days is the sweet spot for most home gardeners. This gives the soil microbiome time to process the previous application before introducing more starch and nutrients, preventing any buildup while still providing a consistent, gentle boost throughout the growing season. If you notice your marigolds are already thriving with vibrant color and strong blooms using your normal fertilizing routine, you can even stretch this out to once every 3 weeks as a supportive top-up rather than a core feeding strategy. Consistency, moderation, and good timing are what separate gardeners who see beautiful results from those who accidentally create problems in their soil. Get this rhythm right, and you're set up for success. So how long until you actually see something happening? Here's a realistic picture, not an exaggerated one. Within the first 5 to 7 days after your initial application, you likely won't see dramatic visual change, but you may notice the soil holding moisture slightly better and looking a touch darker and richer, a sign that microbial activity is picking up beneath the surface. By around 2 weeks in, with consistent applications every 10 to 14 days, most gardeners start noticing the leaves taking on a deeper, more saturated green color. The plant may also start looking slightly more compact and sturdy rather than leggy. The real payoff tends to show up around the 3 to 4 week mark. This is typically when you'll see an increase in bud formation, and existing blooms often appear larger and more vividly colored, richer oranges, deeper yellows, more saturated reds, depending on your marigold variety. Stems often feel a bit stronger and less floppy, and the overall plant tends to look fuller and more resilient, especially if it's been through some heat stress along the way. By the 6 to 8 week mark, with consistent, properly timed applications, many gardeners report their marigolds are outperforming untreated plants nearby. More blooms, better color, and a noticeably healthier look overall. Patience and consistency are key here. This is a gentle, cumulative process, not an overnight transformation. And that's the real story behind rice water and marigolds. Not magic, just simple science, a little patience, and doing it the right way. You've now got everything you need: what's actually in that water, why your marigolds respond to it, how to prepare and apply it safely, and exactly when to use it for the best results. Give it a try, be consistent, and watch what your marigolds do over the next few weeks. If this helped you see your kitchen scraps in a whole new light, subscribe for more simple, practical growing tips like this one, and I'll see you in the next video.